Welcome back, everybody. It is Tuesday night, and it's another episode of Tech Talk Live with Giles McCoy. That's me. But I'm never the important person. I always have someone important with me. And tonight, I've got somebody really super important with me. And it's Rob Vieira from, where are you from now? Is it VOXX or 11 Trading or Onkyo or Premium Audio Company? What's the right one?
Sure. So I actually am employed by Premium Audio Company.
Gotcha.
However, my main area of focus, if not my only area of focus, is Onkyo and Integra, as well as Pioneer and Elite. So you can basically consider me the AVR guy and
Nice.
that whole subsidiary there. So
Cool. And so for everybody that's out there watching tonight, we're going to take a deep dive with Rob. We're going to talk a little bit about his history. And then we're going to really get into the Onkyo portfolio pretty deep and talk through all of the cool things that they've got going on there. And they are pretty awesome. I mean, I'm pretty impressed. I'm working on a piece of content right now for one of the AVRs, and it's really cool. And I think it's going to be very compelling for a lot of folks. And so for everybody out there, remember, go ahead and hit the subscribe button, do all those things that everybody asks you to do when you watch one of these videos. But with that, I think we're just going to start digging right in, Rob. So maybe you could tell people a little bit about your history, who you are, and why they should care.
okay, I ask myself why I should care about myself like every now and again. But no, you know what? I'm a fan. You know, I started out as a kid who loved movies in the 80s and stuff. And I was one day I went down the Radio Shack and I bought a book on how to build speakers, and I never ended up building a speaker. But what it did teach me was how to set up speakers. And once I learned about imaging, I had this cheap like Sony rack system, you know, like with the big cardboard speakers and
right. Yeah.
But no, but it was instrumental in like creating a spark in me that I just couldn't stop tinkering with speaker placement. And I realized that when I go to the movies, and back then, I mean, it was like super blockbuster era, and it was the beginnings of things like Pro Logic and Dolby Digital.
Oh yeah, the good old days, way back then.
It was like so much fun to suspend disbelief that way. But when I realized that, wow, two speakers, if I set them up right and I sit in the right spot, it's almost like it's just painting an image almost as exciting as a big screen.
Yeah.
So my ears like perked up. And from that point on, I was like just totally hooked. And I didn't know how to break into the industry, if you will.
Right.
So one winter, I just went down to a local retailer who carried some pretty cool stuff. And I said, let me start off by, I don't know, cleaning the bathrooms or whatever. Oh, that's okay. We're going to put you on the sales floor. So I started in sales. And because I wasn't the greatest salesman, to be honest. I was just I was so happy to have these products around me. I memorized every input and output and got into management. And from there, things got really crazy because thankfully my bosses understood this enthusiasm and said, hey, let's go with this guy. And they sent me to CEDIA trainings.
Oh, nice.
And so I ended up working with all of our installation teams. At that point, it was very analog, the installation world. But then we started in like 06 carrying things like Control 4. We got into networking and Sonos. So I was merchandising like 14 stores. So that is like in a nutshell. But really what's most important is just I'm a fan, just like everybody on this call. I mean, I am, you know, a dyed-in-the-wool audiophile, videophile. I'm not a snob about it, but, you know, I appreciate everything that goes into the artistic creation. And I feel that, you know, being with Onkyo, it's a great place to be because I can actually explore those things that excite me because I know they excite you, you know, because I'm just like you. I just happen to be on this side of the screen.
Yeah, and you know, I've been an Onkyo fan for years. Well, actually, all of them. I mean, there's a lot of a lot of brands that are kind of rolled into the VOXX portfolio right now. And I think they've done a really good job of picking kind of the best of the best, right, to work with. And we'll talk about that in a minute. But before we get there, I have some photos of you from over the years that I want to throw up for people that, you know, they may not have seen them before. But here's a sweet one. Looks like you're carrying, what is that, spools of cable, maybe?
Yeah, that's probably like 16.4 or something. But
Nice.
actually,
Oh,
this one is really cool. But we'll get to that in a minute.
yeah, let me go
Try
back.
to find
I
the one with
bumped the
the
button.
CRT
Yeah.
projector. It's really funny.
Yeah, so some heavy lifting there for you with, does it say heater? Theater. I mean,
Yeah,
it says
yeah.
theater when you close the
That
doors.
was 6th Ave Electronics. That was, and that dog in the background, by the way, his name was Mojo, just in case anybody needs that bit of information. But yeah, so I mean, I've crawled through attics, I've run cables. I mean, but really I mean, when I was a kid, I cut a hole in the wall of my bedroom to push components back to make it look professional. I mean, of course, my parents were really pissed, but I was just obsessed with custom integration, home theater building. I mean, it was just an obsession. So
I hear you. I hear you.
find that CRT projector one though. Keep
Oh
going a
yeah.
little bit.
Here,
Okay.
there it is.
Oh yeah. So I mean, guys, let me tell you, it was a lot of fun, but it's a lot easier now with an ultra short throw. So, I mean, do you know that when I took the CEDIA designer certification, it was like when it first came out, and they had load distribution questions because they said, there are times where people mount CRTs with toggles, up into sheetrock, and then you have a leak and disaster strikes, So I had to get into all that stuff, and all I wanted to really do was just experience movies and music. But that was part of, the journey. So
Yeah, well, back in the day, you had to really want it. You know what I mean?
I
You had,
tell you, I can't even imagine starting over again. It's just been, decades of just obsession.
do you remember the like the 50-inch or whatever rear projection televisions? I mean, they were just
Oh yeah,
humongous boxes. So, it had like one of these projectors built into the bottom of it, I guess, or however they did
yeah,
it. I mean,
yeah,
those things were ridiculous.
yeah. We
Um,
we sold a lot of those. Usually they're built into a custom cabinet that
yeah.
after that TV dies, nothing else is going to fit properly in it. So, those were like, I almost consider it the analog days in a way, So,
Yeah, yeah,
but
no, I
it's the
agree.
foundation, it's the foundation. So,
All right, here's one that looks like modern stuff in a lab somewhere, maybe.
yeah. So, this was a really fun and challenging situation. Can you find the one with the speakers in the room? Let's
This guy?
go. There we go. Okay. So yeah, of course, VOXX owns Klipsch. So we do use Klipsch for a lot of things, but we don't
Mhm.
only use Klipsch. We use a lot of other brands. Of course, probably don't talk about it too much, but we also evaluate a lot of other brands of audio equipment. But what you're seeing right here is, inviting our Japanese engineers from Osaka to help us with tuning the sound of the new AVRs, for example, the RZ70.
Mhm.
And what do I mean by tuning? Well, the foundation is there for a very high power, awesome component, but there are nuances that these two geniuses here can help us achieve. So we try to make it as objective as possible. And if you go to the next pick, we would discuss maybe imaging, right, for 2-channel, etc.
This
And
guy?
go back one.
This guy.
Yeah. So you
Okay.
see, my colleague in the back is sorting through components, and our engineer literally just pulls the lid off of this AVR and starts soldering in different component values to help with depth and imaging. Uh,
Sure.
yeah.
Right.
So you know what? It could seem like a very cold device, but the truth is there are people who put a lot of love into this. It's very expensive to, fly people around to open up a box and start, at the whim of audiophiles to try to create a better sounding device. And at this stage, these guys actually went back to Japan and went back to the drawing board on some of these designs, and they cleaned up a lot of grounding paths and things like that. And of course, we bench test it too, because, you know, we don't want it to just rely on somebody's subjective opinion about sound quality. We want to see results, right?
Right on. Yeah, there are two things in this picture that, well, really one that calls to me. I just want to know what the heck the squirrel cutout is in the back. Right?
You know,
This guy. What is up with the squirrel thing?
So Onkyo is 77 years old, and Klipsch is 77 years old. And this took place in the Premium Audio Company facility in Indianapolis. I live 15 minutes from there, and I have no idea what that squirrel cutout is for.
Right on. Everyone out there. So for all the folks watching, so first off, thanks for joining. Welcome. If you have questions, please drop those into the comments. And if you're on one of the YouTube channels, I'll be able to see those. If you're coming in through another channel, I probably won't see it. So you want to jump over to my YouTube and check the show out there. However, you know, just get it in, and we will get those answered as quickly as we can as we go through. You know, Richard has joined us, BA Audio has joined us, a whole bunch of people that are nameless are out there, haven't said anything yet, have joined us. So thanks so much for jumping in with us here as we talk to Rob from Onkyo, and we're getting deep into the Onkyo world here. All right, so let's do some more photos. So
just let me put that into perspective.
Oh, sure.
Imagine you're a fanboy like me, right?
Yep.
And now you have engineers working to create a better sound stage.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like there's this scene in you don't mind if I riff right now?
No, go for it. No, this is great.
Yeah, so there's a scene in Ready Player One, still one of my favorite demos.
A wonderful movie.
Yep, awesome, so much. I hear they're working on Ready Player 2, but
that's what I hear too, which I'm really excited about.
So am I. So you know, King Kong, he's grunting and all that, but really in surround, we did a lot of 2-channel listening, but then when we switched to surround, if you have that disc and you have a surround system, just try to focus on this one part where he starts pounding his chest, and it's just like this umbrella of sound where it's not localizing the speakers, you know, and it's things like that we would point out and say, how can we make, you know, the surrounds and everything disappear and have everything be a cohesive, you know, experience where the speakers disappear. So imagine, you know, my how delightful it was for me to have somebody with the ability to open up the top of the thing and go, okay, let's see if we can do that. You know, it was.
And what's even more amazing is, you know, these guys, they know what the changes will do. They're like, let's change this resistor from a 0.1 to a 0.011 or what, you know, whatever, you know. That's amazing. And you're right. I mean, he's probably, that booklet right there in front of his hands probably has, you know, tons of just different little components, right, that are just just fractions of a fraction of a whatever they're measured in, different, right? But when you put it in the device, right, it's different.
Oh, it's an incredible experience. But you know, they've won awards for the sound quality, and you know, it's our passion. You know, our passion is sound, and you know, without folks who enjoy content, you know, we wouldn't even be building these things, you know. So again, you know, I think the message here is like, if you're the type of person that says, why would they do it this way? Why wouldn't they do this? That's exactly who I am. And then I was just fortunate enough to, you know, be obsessed enough to kind of make my way into this spot. So
right. Yeah, you kept at it long enough until you got a seat at the table, right?
That is correct, sir.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Okay, let's see what else this folder of images contains for us. So let's see, we talked about this guy, and so is this more component testing right here?
Yeah. So the guy on the right, his name is Hero. He actually is Onkyo Integra sound designer.
Okay.
And the guy on the left is Akihasa. He's a good friend of mine. I spent 2 years with him together in North Jersey when it was Onkyo USA, which is another story. He is comes from the elite, from the pioneer family.
Mhm.
So they, there's some shared architecture, of course, because that's what keeps it somewhat affordable. If you look at
Right.
our power and channel counts, versus a lot of companies out there where we do have a great bang for your buck. But it's important to know that there are different human beings working on these products. Even though they're both given, let's say, a V8 engine, right? They're both tuning it differently, and it's just a whole lot of fun.
Okay. Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense. I just want to know why the guy on the right, well, both of these gentlemen are dressed so nicely to be working in the lab.
Well, what's even crazier is they're not even wearing eyeglasses. I mean, these components are like the size of mini ants, and I'm like, I have to put on my contacts and my readers to see them.
Yeah, no, you're
So,
right. They're in there. They're in it to win it. Awesome. Okay,
mhm.
let's see what else we got. We talked about that guy, talked about this guy. Now, who is this?
Well, that was I it comes up all the time. I have played for the troops in the Middle East a few times. This was
Right
in
on.
Kuwait. Um, I think it's just a part of a hobby that got out of control. But I think the important part in my job is I've been on a lot of different stages, and I kind of understand sound from a tactile perspective as well as
Right.
from the product side. So it's just something interesting that people kind of say, okay, well, I feel a little bit more comfortable that this guy's actually a musician who's working on these audio products. And by the way, it's not just me. I mean, we have teams and teams of people, but I like to bring in all that experience to everything that we build. So just a little fun fact.
No,
And
that's
and,
great.
and my band name is Battery, by the way. They're out of
Okay.
Crown Point, Indiana. So
Right on. Can we find any of your music anywhere? Or do you have anything out and about these days?
well, I mean, we're just more like a jam band. Like we get up and play 3 hours of Metallica.
Right on. Man,
So
you gotta cut an album, man. You gotta do
yeah.
it. Do it.
If I
Get
find
after
any
it.
time, if I find some time, I will, Giles. You'll be the first to know.
Hey, I would be down. I would keep it on rotation here. I could use it as a demo track for review content. Now that's what I'm talking about. And
Right.
then everybody be like, "Oh, I gotta have that demo track. Let's do it." Then you start hearing it at all the hi-fi shows and all of the $250,000, $500,000 speaker sets. They have to have your song playing because that's what people want to hear to buy the speakers. And then,
I
one
don't know
thing leads
about
to
that.
another, man. It's just
I'll
that's
tell you this: PAC Premium Audio Company has a lot of musicians working there in marketing. Um, these guys really are about sound. I mean, you can have whatever your thoughts are and experiences with different brands, but at the end of the day, I'm working in a company where sound and audio performance is paramount, and it's not just BS. I mean, here I am on stage, right? So I mean,
yeah, yeah.
yeah. So it's real, and we're just we're glad. I'm happy because Onkyo, let's talk about the elephant in the room. They had some issues years ago, right?
Mhm.
And when VOXX / Premium Audio Company finally acquired these brand names and acquired the engineering team in Osaka, I will tell you that, like I said before, I'm like you guys, and a lot of times corporate stuff gets in the way. These guys just say, Rob, we want you to build the best that you can. So, I mean, this is a real big watershed moment. It's very exciting. There are amazing things in the works that I unfortunately can't talk about, even though I really want to. But, like I see some questions about amps and stuff. And believe me, guys, that's all I want to talk about. But, there's a process that goes into this, unfortunately, that I have to adhere to. But, you know, hey, listen, catch me for a beer at CEDIA or something. You never know.
Yeah, we'll get into this a little bit deeper here in just a few minutes, but I do want to just go over a little bit about VOXX, right? And so, you know, for folks that don't know and don't really care about this kind of stuff, I think it's kind of interesting, right? Because you know, there's been some consolidation in the industry and that kind of thing. And VOXX, so they own Premium Audio Company. So the Premium Audio Company is a subsidiary of VOXX, and then there's 11 Trading Company that's a subsidiary of Premium Audio Company. But if you look at the big container, there are a lot of really cool brands that people know that are all part of the same family now. So you know, not only is Onkyo and Pioneer that we've touched on in there, Klipsch is in there, right? RCA, for people if they remember that brand's in there, although I think it's a little bit different than, you know, kind of the RCA from way back in the 60s or whatever. There's Jensen, and I had many a piece of Jensen gear throughout the years back in the day. They're in there. JMO, Energy, Hiko, Magnat, they're all in there. Integra as well. You're wearing the Integra shirt now. So there's a lot of intellectual property kicking around in here and a lot of really cool history. So, I mean, these are brands that you can build complete systems with that are very, very high quality from both 2-channel and multi-channel environments. It's pretty cool. I like it. So any new brands going to join the family anytime soon?
Even if I did know, I wouldn't be able to say. So I think we have enough for right now, you know.
Sure.
You know, like Yamo and Magnet and Heko, they're more like for Europe, you know, it's like more of a European play on that. And really the focus is on Klipsch and Onkyo. I mean, Integra is I was originally hired for Integra because I was an integrator for like 10 years after retail and stuff. You know, and then it just snowballed into all this other stuff with me. But Integra, you know, it has a longer warranty. It has a truck roll policy for integrators. We worked really hard at a web setup GUI, you know, that you can access from any browser using the IP address. And of course, some of the Onkyo products have that as well. And, you know, it was a question of, well, why should we defeature Onkyo? There are some enthusiasts out there that would love access to these features. And we said, well, as much as Integra is near and dear to my soul, we have to share. So without Integra, you know, there might be a little bit less innovation. So it's great to have like a sister company, if you will.
Sure.
And Klipsch, the guys from Klipsch are awesome. I learn about their products every day because Premium Audio Company is sort of like this virtual first floor thing where we don't care if you're in Japan, Europe, we get together every day as if we're actually in the office together and we learn from each other. So you're going to see a lot more innovation based on the ability for us to share platforms between these amazing engineering teams from US and Osaka and the product teams from Europe and things like that.
That's awesome. And I think this is a good segue to get a little deeper into Onkyo and the product line there. I think a lot of people have showed up and they were like, tell us about the Onkyo. And, you know, like BA Audio, as soon as BA got on, he's all like, come on, RZ90, is it coming? What's going on? You know what I mean? But before we get to the future, let's talk about today, right? And what's new. And the hot items, at least in my mind, are the RZ70 and the SR3100. So maybe we can talk a little bit about those. And there was another question about let me pull this up. So Richard asked about the Onkyo RZ70. So I've released my unboxing video of that, and I have the RZ70 in my theater right now. And I've been going back and forth amongst the Onkyo RZ70, the Storm processor, the Trinov processor, and an Acurus Muse and an Acurus Act 4 that I've got back there. And I keep looking at the price tags on these other devices, and then I look at the price tag on the Onkyo, and then I listen. And then I look, and then I look at the price tag again, and I'm like, I don't know how does this make sense? because the Onkyo is really good. So I haven't released the video yet, but I'm pretty confounded by this piece of technology, and I don't know what kind of special pixie magic dust you sprinkled on this thing, but whatever you did is pretty darn good. Maybe you can help people out there understand what's going on with this thing, and I'm going to pull up the brochure so we can talk through the brochure too.
Sure.
So yeah, what is the RZ70?
Well, it was an opportunity for Onkyo. This was the first product that was really released under the PAC umbrella, right? So it was the first product that was from ground up managed by the PAC team, and of course engineered in Osaka. And why does that matter? Well, we have 60 engineers in Osaka, and they're super, super smart. But we have a lot of product guys and engineers also in the US that are way smarter than I am. And when you put those two together, you have a little bit of a clash, right?
Sure.
And you have to work out and work together. It's not easy, I'll tell you. Two 77-year-old companies, and you arrive at something special, and that's what the effort that was put into the RZ70. The RZ70 has a brand new symmetrical Class AB 140 watt per channel by 11 design, amplification design. You may remember Class D that Pioneer used in some of the upper Onkyos. Well, we had a choice, in our next step up. Are we going to focus on Onkyo Heritage Class AB or start working towards Class D or Class G and other designs? And we stuck with Class AB for this one. We wanted a super powerhouse. Probably the coolest stuff on this particular piece for me is the addition of Dirac Live bass control option with discrete sub outs, 2 discrete sub outs.
That's a big deal.
Yeah, and RO3D, which it's kind of a niche, format. And I know the guys from Oro, and we talk all the time. And really, it's their upmixing that is special here.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I've got we can talk through the key features on the brochure. So I've got that on screen. So
sure.
You've called out it calls out 250 watts of channel AB power. It's got studio grade processing and using the very latest ESS SaberDAX THX certification, ER functionality. So IMAX enhanced, so that's there. The THX cert, that's there. Of course, Atmos is there. You can't have one without Atmos today. But like you said, RO3D is really cool. And for those that haven't used the upmixing, man, I encourage people, try it. Find your favorite 2-channel music, to put it in your theater, and try some of this RO3D upmixing, because it's really, 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 really cool. Now, I think this is works with Sonos, but it's Roon certified, right? Is that correct?
We're actually Roon ready now, which
Roon
is
ready.
Which is a major step up from tested. Yeah.
Yes, it's a major step. And for me, for 2-channel music, I'm Roon. I'm all in. So everything I use is some level of Roon certification, and it really makes it easy for me to have one consolidated spot. I mean, I could go on and on about Roon. I really love the technology, and I got to see the Roon guys just what's today? Tuesday, 2 days ago. So on Sunday, I was out at the home entertainment show in California, and Roon was there with Wim. I've been saying it wrong. It's not Weem, it's Wim. And I got a chance to talk with those guys, which is really cool. And I'm really happy to see that Onkyo is in that ecosystem, because it really does open up your theater to a world of 2-channel goodness, which is pretty sweet. And then here we go. So Dirac Live, maybe you can talk a little bit about, what is Dirac in general? Why would anybody want this thing that's called Dirac?
Yeah. So Dirac is a very complicated set of algorithms. Matter of fact, if you give me a second, Giles, maybe I'll be able to bring something up on my screen that'll kind of help to understand that, or at least to
Yeah,
have fun explaining
and
it.
while you do that, I've got the RZ50 and the RZ70 comparison chart, and it's kind of hard to read. I apologize for that. I can't really. Maybe can I make it any? I don't think I can make it any bigger. That makes it wider, but it doesn't make. Maybe this. Oh yeah, I'm doing something. Look at me, I'm doing something. So they're very similar devices, but the RZ70 is just more, right? It's just more across the board. The 724 with 11 amplified versus the 722 with 9 amplified. You got 7 in 2 out or versus 7 in 3 out. They both do 8K 4K Ultra HD, Dolby Vision, HDR10 plus, all the good stuff. HDMI 2.1, which is important, HDCP 2.3. And I really like all of the inputs on these devices, right? You have a set of component and composite inputs. And one of the things that I wanted to do when I made the piece of content for this processor, this AVR, was to plug in a Laserdisc player, but I haven't found one. I've been trying to find a Laserdisc player somewhere, but I was going to show people, look, and you can even do this, but maybe I'll just talk about that one day. But anyway, here's this is the comparison for folks that are looking for it, and you can see that the RZ70 does include the RO3D, which the RZ50 apparently does not, and I did not realize that until just right now. Yeah. Did you find the thing that you want to share up there?
I will try to share my screen as clumsily or as
just if you hit that present button down at the bottom, it should get you going. And remember, everybody out there, if you have any questions, feel free to throw those up and we'll pull them in. And get that out there for everybody. Oh, hold on. Here we go. Oh, I've missed a whole bunch of comments that have come across. So here, let me add this to the stage.
So there we go. Sharing right now, or
yeah, you are. So if you look back over at the browser window for our stream, you can now see that you've got the full 20 hertz to 20,000 hertz bandwidth Dirac live, no upgrade fee required, which everybody loves to hear.
Yeah, so let's have a little bit of fun here, if that's cool. So last gen, that would be the 7100 and up. We invested in Dirac Live, but we were, for our price points, we were very, very close to being first to the market, and that allowed us to form a relationship with Dirac and or Dirac. They said pronounce it any way you like.
Yeah, I can't stop saying Dirac, so I'm probably wrong.
Yeah. So we actually have a very special, integration at this point, or implementation, I should say, where you get full bandwidth out of the box. I mean, if you use our app and our included microphone, you don't even have to set up an account to use this out of the box.
That's cool.
So I threw this together in the early days of Dirac, because obviously I'm in contact with them quite a bit. We were trying to tell the story. I mean, how did this get into I think the 7100 came out originally at $899 before COVID and all that. So anyway, so what is this stuff, right? So it's funny that you asked that question. So a bunch of PhD students in Sweden, they're just like me and you, their room was messing with their sound. And unlike a lot of people out there, they actually knew how to do something about it because they had the right equipment and the right understanding of acoustics. So digital signal processing techniques, right? So now this is the funny part, or fun part. So this guy's name is Paul Dirac. Dirac was named in honor of this guy, with that equation at the bottom being kind of like the heart of the Dirac technology. So he was, he looks a little crazy, right? Now, here's the funny thing is, if you don't believe me that this guy was pretty smart, all you have to do is go to the Dirac wiki page, and there's a quote by Einstein that's like, yeah, I don't understand what this guy's doing at all. So
Right.
So it's like one of my favorite things to show, because when people ask me how does it work, I'm like, hey guys, we take measurements, we send it up to the cloud. There's a lot of stuff that goes on from the server, from the Dirac servers. They calculate the measurements and they download it back down into our AVR. And so you can use the handheld app, which is really cool. It's kind of fun. You can just take your finger and drag the sliders and the curtains and all that stuff and experiment with it. Or, me, I happen to like the PC app because it makes it untethered from the wired microphone. So you pick up this mini DSP mic for $100 or whatever it might be right now. And I believe you can do up to 17 points of measurements with our included mic. Yeah, with our included mic, it's kind of like an easier way to get through Dirac tuning. So it's 3 measurement points or 9 measurement points. And it happens all within the app visually. But yeah, if you want to really have some fun and dig in with the PC, which I couldn't blame you. So bass control, this is optional at the moment. And you would say to yourself, well, wait a minute, we're already tuning the room for frequency and time domain. So Dirac Live bass control is almost like, this is how it was explained to me by the guys at Dirac. If you have a phase control on your subwoofer,
Right.
And you keep playing with it, and this is like having 100 phase controls that are dynamically changing to help match performance to the main speakers. So that's about the simplest way that I can describe it based on my understanding of it. I think at the end of the day, we're all here to experience better sound and let the propeller heads do what they got to do to make that happen. So that is what I have for that little Dirac segment, if that makes any sense.
It does make sense. And I'm going to share another screen here because we got a number of questions around the back of this box. So I'm going to put up a picture here so that I can talk through this with everybody if I can find this. Chrome tab. Let's just do this window. No, I want to do a Chrome tab. Which Chrome tab is this? This is Best Buy. There we go. Share. Okay, and add. All right. So this is the rear of the unit. So one question that came from Richard. He was asking about the inputs on the RZ70 and can you plug a laser disc player in those? So yeah. So if you look right over here, and okay, my mouse is coming up. You got to set a component in, right? So the red, the blue, and the green. You've also got, I think these are a couple of composite ends as well. So you can go way back with your inputs on this unit, and then also you've got phono in, and then different sets of RCA inputs for the audio piece. So yeah, this can work with pretty much any laser disc out there that uses a standard set of outputs and inputs. Now there are a handful of laser disc players that use some specialized stuff that wouldn't necessarily work with this or any other AVR on the market, but the vast majority of them will absolutely just plug right into this unit, no problem. So let's see who all's joined. So Hi-Fi Haven is here with us. Hi-Fi Haven, welcome. And I'm glad to hear that you're a Ready One player, because if you weren't, I don't know if I could talk to you anymore. Elmino Moronido maybe is going to ask about new integrated amps. We'll get to that in just a little bit. Van Gool has joined us. We've got Will Anderson with us. RZ50 is a great receiver. Absolutely, 100% it is. And then Hi-Fi even asked, how many pre-outs on each? So if you look over here, you can see that you got pre-outs for what appear to be front, left and right, center, surround height, surround back, height 2s. And then you also have 2 subwoofer outputs. And like you were saying, the Dirac is very important, because if you upgrade to the multi, I like to think of it as more than one subwoofer bass management. You can manage 2 separate subs in your room, right, to help deal with room modes, right, the nulls and the peaks and that kind of stuff. And for I think most purchasers at this price level, two subs is kind of the sweet spot. So it makes a lot of sense for it to be able to handle that, which is really, really nice. But, that's kind of what we've got going on in the back. And then obviously you can see all of the different amplified outputs that they've got. You can do RS-232 control. You've got IR in and out. You got 12-volt trigger. You've got optical connectivity, coax, your 3 HDMI outs and all of your ins and your Ethernet and your USB. And then you still have AM and FM antennas. I don't know that I've actually plugged those up in any piece of gear that I've used in a very, very long time, but it's there. And I think most people just keep those in the little plastic bag they come in.
Yeah.
And then it looks like 2 antenna for all the wireless stuff. So pretty much every piece of in-out that you could want. I mean, I can't think of anything else that I'd want on the back of this that this doesn't cover. So it's all there. It's all there.
Yeah, if I may add, I noticed on your unboxing video, Giles, that you're kind of counting the speaker binding posts, and you're like, wait a minute, how is there 13? Is that right? Or
I don't remember, but we can count them here. What's that? 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 22, 4, 26 binding posts.
Yeah, divided by 2.
Yeah, 13 channels. Yeah,
right.
13.
So if it's an 11-channel amplifier, why do we have those extra binding posts? Well, that's so if you run zone 2, you don't have to share it with a height. You don't have to decide, hey, I want to steal height 2 as an example, right?
Yep.
So when you turn on zone 2, it'll direct it toward your zone 2 speakers and just steal the channel rail for the height speaker, you see?
Oh, that's nice. So you got 11 channels of amplification, but when you pop that zone 2 on, it's going to take 2 of those and power that. So you can have, it's kind of like a multi-zone splitter inside technology kind of dealy. That's cool.
Yeah. And, the Integra piece has even more binding post output. So, it's very, I believe it's very thoughtful ins and IO on this device as well as the feature set. So I just, just keep in mind, this is just a harbinger of things to come for the entire lineup. So yeah, I know $27.99 is not for everybody, but when you put the effort into a product like this, your engineering team learns from it, our customers feed back to us, and then when the $9.99 and $14.99 and replacement of the RZ50 one of these days, we're learning from this, and we'll be able to build even better products moving forward.
Right. Beefy does have a good point. Mini Laserdiscs did use S-Video and no S-Video. So if you've got an S-Video device, you're going to have to find an adapter. And I believe they have adapters for S-Video to stuff, right? But yeah, there's not one of those on the back of here. And I'm not going to say unfortunately, because I really don't care to have an S-Video anymore on anything. So I'm totally fine with it not having a S-Video out there. So that's okay with me. So this is the flagship, and the this does 7 to 4. So and I think 7 bed channels and 4 Atmos channels is a really good sweet spot for most what I would call prosumers, maybe, or enthusiast level. The basic person, they're going to be fine with a 5.1 kind of processor, right? AVR. But this one is doing it all, and all those channels are amplified. So you don't need to pull anything else out. You don't have to go buy more amps unless you want to. And if you do, you can, right? So I assume that this has, the direct pure mode or whatever it's called, so that you can kind of, turn off some of the things that might create noise. Although I've never really experienced issues with that kind of stuff with my processors. But a lot of people do like to see that kind of feature when they're using the pre-outs.
Yeah, there is we released a firmware update for preamp mode, so you can.
Yep.
But the other half of your statement, I think it was more like pure direct. So whatever's coming in goes out, and it passes through minimal
Processing.
post-processing. Yeah,
Yeah.
because think about it. You can almost think about it like how many windows. If you're looking at a window and there's 10 window panes, if we remove 5, you're likely to have a clearer vision at the end. So pure direct kind of just like takes away a lot of it circumvents a lot of post-processing. And that's tough with a processor and an AVR because one person will actually use like game mode or something, and
Right.
100 people will tell you they don't want it, and the one person that wants it will get angry if you remove it. So yeah, an AVR is really, or they'll be disappointed, I should say. So an AVR is, man, it's a lot of promising. It's you're promising a lot of things in one box for a very reasonable price point. So
I hear you.
not the easiest product to develop.
And well, and since you mentioned price points, the SR3100 is pretty new as well. And I don't know a lot about that unit. I'm going to pull that up and see if I can share that out. Let me share this screen with everybody. Let me stop this one, and I'll present a screen, and then let's see. I think that will work. Okay, and then we'll add it, and then I can navigate over to that device. So that's probably going to be under AV receivers, maybe. And let's see, where's that 3100 at? There we go. Boom. And this is $400, right? Or not even, $339 on sale. Wow, that's well. So what has this guy got going on? We've got a lot of pretty pictures here. Dolby Atmos, DTSX. How many channels is this one? Do you know off the top of your head?
Yeah, it's a 5-channel AVR.
Right on. So as I was talking a little bit before about the more entry level, man, $339 to get in, and you're good to go. That's pretty outstanding. Go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, we made a decision that not everybody needs built-in streaming apps. A lot of folks are using external streaming devices. So it just kind of made sense to be able to give Atmos and DTSX at a lower price point, and letting folks just plug in whatever it is, a Roku, whatever it is, maybe eARC from their TVs. So that's why this is like quite an exceptional value, and it kind of like heralds back to the days where things were just, like I was saying, a little bit simpler, where you don't have to have everything in one box. It's likely that you may find your content in multiple external streaming devices. So
right,
we wanted to give a no BS, great sounding 5-channel experience. I mean, you could do 3.1.2. I mean, as strange as it is, you can do that. But sure, in most cases, I'm sure it'll end up being in a 5.1 or smaller. But it's just nice to know that you're getting the most up-to-date processing and good amplification in a kind of a compact enclosure, as well as a very affordable price point.
Right. Oh, the price point is outstanding. I mean, that's kind of ridiculous. $330. That's awesome. That's very cool. So I do want to ask this question, and you may not have a good answer for this one, because I don't know what the answer is either. But if you look at the AVRs from Onkyo, you've got an RZ series, you've got a NR series, and an SR series, and I don't really know what the differences are. I mean, obviously the RZs are the most advanced and the most expensive, and is this kind of a over history? This is kind of how things have developed, and there's still products in the lines, or is there anything else to it, or is it just kind of how things grew up over time?
So I can't go back 77 years and
right,
but I can tell you this: when you get past SR, NR stands for network receiver, so you know that it has a network connection, and most likely has built-in streaming apps. Yeah, so that's why TX SR3100 and who knows? Maybe I don't know originally where it came from. Now, why wouldn't we change that? Well, after decades of people searching for this receiver or that receiver, it's just easier to find the Onkyo products by just keeping those same kind of acronyms in the beginning. RZ series, it is a different capacitors that are used in the amplifier section that actually are wider bandwidth. So there's more effort put into, like I said, the bandwidth of the amplifier section. So, you could argue, okay, well, 5 hertz, who's going to hear that? Or aren't I using subs? But the wider the bandwidth, the more headroom there is for the stuff that you really want to hear. So that's what separates the RZ series among like cosmetics and other stuff. And at one point, it used to just be TXNR, blah, 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 all the way up the line. So I can't tell you exactly how it became RZ, and I don't even question it anymore. I just go with it for now. So
Sure.
does that make sense, like from a technical perspective?
Yeah, it does. It does. So a couple of questions out here, and I don't know all the features of the different AVRs, but do they all support Chromecast? I don't think they all support Chromecast.
Yeah, I think anything with a network with the NR that'll support Chromecast.
Okay, and I assume that the RZ would do Chromecast as well. I'm not a big Chromecast guy, so I don't know that one off the top of my head.
Something, just FYI, something interesting. We switched over to a quad-core network processor a few years ago. One of the reasons was to fully support Chromecast built in natively, which, by the way, I think they're changing the name of that, but that's another story. So, but it'll be the same thing. So, with that upgrade of the quad-core network processor, we've had we have a much more stable network presence, right? So the stories of something fell offline. I mean, we're in the real world. Things fall offline sometimes, but ours are much more stable now with the quad core network processor.
Right on. And Beefy asked if it's just audio. I think that's correct. I think it's just
that is audio only. That is correct.
Audio only. And then Beefy also he was on top of the Pure Direct skipping past A to D and D to A DAX and analog to digital. So thank you for that one. Appreciate it. And then here's another one. This is kind of interesting. Why is there not a lot of support for YouTube Music natively out there as a streaming app? I don't know the answer to that question.
Honestly, I don't either, but this is for me a learning experience to hear what the interests are out there. So thank you for that, Will. And
well, you're the right guy to know that there's interest. If anybody needs to know, you're the one. So all of the people out there, the YouTube Music folks, are now cheering like, "Yay! Now Rob knows."
Can I just say, Beefy? The Onkyo user manuals are terrible. Oh man! Hey, I'll tell you what. If I had time, I would call you up and we'd rewrite them together.
I'm sure that's what Beefy wants to do on a Saturday afternoon. Just let's tear through these Onkyo manuals and make them good.
Man, I have to be honest where I have to be honest, and the information's there, but you're gonna do some hunting, and we can improve on that. And I do appreciate that comment. And like I said, maybe one day I might even call you and fly you out here, and we'll just rewrite every single one of them. Our guy in Europe translates all of them. I mean, wow. Can you imagine that job for all those different languages?
So here's a question. Is the source language on the manuals English, or is it coming out of Japanese into an English translation? You know what I mean? I wonder what the first pass is on those. I would think it would be Japanese, right?
Yeah, it's some kind of mix of everything. So there are obviously, all of us have experienced different cultures and languages and stuff, and You know, when you say I want to, you know, pick something up and put it here, it means something totally different, even if it's exactly the same words, verbiage, right?
Right.
So that's where it gets like really tricky. So our team that builds it now is in Osaka, and they're really sharp people. And I have to say that I think they're tackling a very complicated product category, and it's really difficult to concisely explain, you know, each one of these features and what happens when you do this and what happens when you do that. So it is it's a lot.
Right
I mean,
on.
just Chromecast alone, you can probably imagine how long it would take to really even explain all of that. So, like we were just talking about Chromecast. So,
Yeah, Beefy's hardcore. He's into it deep. He is down
yeah.
to his ears. And then for Richard, who is channel royalty, by the way. So he is one of my subscribers and members. So I love to see Richard here in the crowd. So thank you so much. That means he supports the channel. And if anybody else wants to support the channel, there's a little button down there you can click on, become a member. Hey, it's cheap. Makes me happy. I'll smile and you get to be royalty. But he asks, I wish there was an adapter to convert composite, which are the 3 RCA looking plugs to HDMI, and there are. And I'll send you a link later, Richard. You can get them on Amazon for 10 to 20 bucks, and there's lots of different styles of them, but they do exist out there, absolutely, and it can be had pretty straightforward with a search. And I'll get you a link to that stuff so you can check it out. All right, so we are closing in on the end of our time here. We're only scheduled for another few minutes. So if there are any other questions out there, and there are a lot of people watching that are not asking questions, please put the questions out. I get Rob on the show maybe once a year if I'm lucky, and I'm very happy to have his time for an hour. So first off, thank you, Rob, for that. It's much appreciated.
Thank you, Giles.
And yeah, and this is a chance for all of you folks out there watching to really get access in to behind the scenes, behind the curtain, right? To see how the magic is made. So if you do have a final question, now is the time. So just a couple of more. Anything new coming that you can talk about? I know you said that there's stuff and it's not really ready for prime time or discussion, but after enough beers at Expona, which I will be at Expona because I live in Colorado and it's just right up the road, and I will come bearing lots of beer. But anything you want to hint at? RZ90, 16 channel.
Okay, so
more subwoofers.
You better believe that we know exactly where. Do you know that the RZ70 was originally going to be the RZ90, and we said no, that's not good enough for the RZ90. We're going to make it a step piece for the 70. So if that means anything, it just means that we will continue to build on the success of that lineup, and that includes higher channel counts and more discrete subwoofer outputs. So does that's pretty awesome. So I invite everyone to take the comments down below and turn it to the speculative discussion area for what the RZ90 feature set is going to be. I would love to see that.
Yeah. So, and you know what? If you have wants and desires, this would be a good place to air those out. I'm sure that whatever's being designed is well down the road, but a lot of stuff can go into software.
Oh, don't worry, we're coming. So
a lot
get
of
it
stuff
in now. Get it in now.
That's awesome.
That's
so yeah, put those notes in there, everybody. And then just a couple of more things. If somebody wants to buy Onkyo, yeah, I asked this question for everybody. I think people know where to get it, but where can people buy Onkyo if they want it? Where are the spots?
Well, I mean, any major electronics retailer, Best Buy, for example, or Crutchfield online. Just to name a couple.
Right, but the very best place to buy these will be through the links down below. Because they're all affiliate links.
Sorry, Giles, I took the question very literally.
No, that's a great answer. And then I build upon that answer I have links to those retailers that are my affiliate links. So full
Yeah,
disclosure.
please, if you're going to purchase these, please click through Giles' link.
I love this. Let's have a beefy mode. that would be awesome.
I mean, did you see Giles' unboxing of the RZ70? I think it already has beefy mode.
I think I've got a hernia.
Yeah, I felt bad. I wanted to like pause it and run over there and like help you with it.
I'm all like, I can't hold it up at arm's length.
I'll tell you what,
it's pretty heavy.
Don't laugh, but it took about 5 years to get engineering to change the packaging so when you pull it out, it's not going this way and that way.
Sure.
Yeah, we really put a lot of effort into that unboxing experience. Yeah, okay, it's styrofoam, just like you're used to seeing, but you know, having worked for the company for 6-7 years and then retail all those years, I know what it's like to pull things out of a box. And it was, to get your engineering team to say, okay, you know what, we'll work on the packaging on the inside while they're busy with 1,000 other things. You really have to give them a good reason to. So hopefully it saved you some of your discs in your back, just by having a little bit better.
Yeah, to be fair, I did it the most difficult way possible. Most people just put it on the floor and open it on the floor instead of on the kitchen island. Usually for the big,
call a friend over too while you're at it.
Yeah, and usually me and Drake, the producer, that's my son who helps me do the video, do move all the cameras over to the living room. Just do it either on the coffee table or directly on the floor. That's where we do TVs at. But I was like, okay, I don't want to move everything. We're going to do it here. And he's like, Dad, are you sure? I picked that box up. It's really heavy. I'm like, I got this, son. Yeah, and it was it was a little ridiculous. Okay, so a couple of more comments are coming in. DTSX Pro, let's go. And then they're all like, just dump the amplification all together and let's go straight up hardcore processor with lots of processing in there. So another path that's a possible way to go potentially. That could be what would it be? The RZ, I would call it the RZ just the OO. I don't know. Or maybe the RZ. RZ
to answer the question, can we do a processor? Yes, we can do a processor.
There's your answer, everyone. The answer is here. And Beefy's all like, give me money. I'll do this. I'll do. I'm with him. I like the cash. All right. Last question. If anybody wants to get up close and personal with Onkyo at a show, where are you guys going to be showing at in the not too distant future?
Major events would be CEDIA and CES. As far as anything in between, I'm privy to some of that information. Sometimes it's very sales focused. So I would say CEDIA, CES.
Great.
And if not your local retailer or specialty retailer or rep or whatever it is, whatever you're used to, buying these products through, besides Giles, of course, because
that's right. That's right. I love it. And then Richard gives another vote for the pre-outs to hook up his amps of choice. I agree 100%. That's all good. And then the request is a processor, but under the Integra name. He wants a Integra processor. Cool. I think we're going to go ahead and close it off. So everybody out there that's watching, thank you so much for jumping on with us tonight. Thank you for your questions and your comments and the support. And one of my favorite things is when I get something wrong, I'm glad that I've got a good audience that's out there that can help pick me up off the floor and be like, no, don't be stupid. This is wrong. So thank you for all of those. I really appreciate it. Rob, thank you for your time.
Thank you.
It's a pleasure.
Thanks, everybody.
I'm happy to have you. Yeah, I'm happy to have you on anytime you want to be here. So just let me know. And with that, with that, we're going to close it out. Everybody out there, remember, like, subscribe, share, do all those things. And we'll see you guys in the next one. Take care.